how did the idea for Riven come along? And tell me a little bit about that, because I've been seeing, like I
Yeah.
said, these tubes floating around on Instagram for the last few weeks pretty hard.
So Riven came about with, so I've been wanting to do my own thing for a long time. I've had other call companies reach out to me to come either work with them, partner up with them, whatever. And I've always wanted to do my own thing. You know what I mean? That's just for whatever reason, it's just I've always kind of marched to the beat of my own drum when it comes to that stuff. Um, and I had my own call company at the age of 18. I started Brooks Custom Calls and was building mouth calls for people, turkey and elk. And that's Higdon found me, brought me in. But then I'm like, okay, 3 years ago, I'm like, I lost by half a point to Corey. I'm like, man, I'm getting really close. I wanted to check that box for my own self to kind of feel like the legitimacy would be there, to start a brand. And I lost by half a point. I'm like, or that'd be 4 years ago. I'm like, I'm right on the heels of Corey, and I'm like, hey, this is it. Let's start working on it. And in the last 6 years, I've been working on different things. So I tried aluminum a long time ago. I tried all these different types of materials. I tried different sizes. And I've been building mouth calls in the meantime for tons of people. I always build mouth calls and build my own. And my friend Jeff, we were talking about it one night, and he's like, what about wood? I'm like, because we're talking about baseball bats and wiffle ball bats and whatever. And I'm like, man, wood would sound incredible, but it would just be impossible to manufacture and make. And he said, well, I don't think it would be. And so we started working on it. I came up with the size, dimensions, and everything. And his friend is a woodworker out of Colorado, and he started working on a lathe, and we made the most crude, wild looking tube out there. And I hunted with it for the whole season, and it was incredible. I mean, just all the sounds that come out of it are just pure. Like nothing, no, you can't hear mess ups, you can't hear ping, you can't hear any of it. It's just mends everything. I'm like, wow, man. And so after doing that, though, I went back to the drawing board. I'm like, there's a few things I want to change on size, and we need to make it a little tougher. And it made it through a whole season hunt with me, and I raked with the thing. I was not easy on it. Probably should have been more easy on it, honestly. But um, I started working on it, and he comes. We go to World Elk. I'm getting ready to call, and he brings me in this tube, and it's made out of zebra wood. And he pulls it out of his backpack, and he was telling me about it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a pretty tube. And I used it, and I went, I've never heard an elk call sound like this before. And
This is
and
this year?
this was last year, the
Oh,
first year
okay.
I won it. Yeah. And so, um, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna rip this thing. And I went up there and I actually won. And it was by quite a bit too, which was the cool part. People could hear the difference in the calling. And
Mhm.
obviously years prior, I was right on the heels with Corey, and we like right there, and finally had a big break. You know what I mean? And I'm like, after that, I'm like, okay, we're doing it. We're manufacturing it. Every waking moment of every day, we started working on this thing, and man, it is the hardest process ever. I'm not necessarily going to get into the details on how we manufacture it, you know what I mean? But it's we went and we had tried different woods, a cheaper
Mhm.
wood, trying to get the cost down, but then durability wasn't there and sound quality wasn't there. I'm like, we're not going with the cheaper product. I said, I want the best quality wood that I can get to make the best quality sound. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so in a sense, we wanted to come out with an instrument, and that's kind of where it came from. Was the guitars, the best instruments in the world, are made out of wood,
True.
and so that's where we came up with this bad boy. And we even put, like, we have an aluminum baffle on the end of it, but I don't like the sound of aluminum. I'm just gonna be honest with you. So I backed it with wood, and we tried to think through everything, and spent a lot of time getting our weight down and keeping durability, which was, it was a struggle, but we got there in my opinion.